AV in your ears, that's Ambush being giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world. With my boy Steve, Fascination Street, you already know. Let's get it when you whip in the Fascination Street. What do you...
This is Courtney Gains, Malachi from Shoulder of the Court, and you're listening to the Fascination Podcast, brother. AV in your ears, that's Ambush being giving you this audio visual down the most interesting street in the world. With my boy Steve, Fascination Street, you already know. Let's get it when you whip in the Fascination Street. What do you...
Welcome back, Streetwalkers. This episode is with Courtney Gains. You all remember Courtney Gains as the lead scary kid, Malachi, in 1984's Children of the Corn. This is the 40th anniversary of that amazingly terrifying film, and next year is going to be the 40th anniversary of one of Courtney's other roles. Courtney was in the film Back to the Future in 1985, so next year he will be celebrating the 40th anniversary of that as well. In this episode, we get to know Courtney. We talk about why he decided to become an actor and some of his earlier roles. We do talk a little about some of his later roles, including one that my mother-in-law suggested my wife and I watch, and it was fantastic. And then we talk about Courtney's music. Courtney has been in music about as long as he has been in acting. And he has a few things that are relatively new on the music front. He has an album or an EP called Safe Haven on Fake Fangs Records, and it's at fakefangs.com. You can buy that EP. It's super dope. It's got 6 songs on it. I bought it. I loved it. It's amazing. And then he is part of a new charity compilation. It is called Marshes to Mountains. You can get it on Bandcamp. It drops December 6th. It is a charity album. All proceeds benefit the horrifically devastated community of Asheville and those areas that were devastated by the hurricane. Not just Asheville, but that general area from the marshes of Savannah to the mountains of Asheville. There's over 100 tracks on that compilation album, so definitely check that out. It was put together by Jim Reed, who is a Savannah music archivist. Also out right now, Courtney has his first Christmas movie. He is in a film called Christmas Cowboy. We do talk a little bit about that as well. Courtney is also part of a band called Ripple Street, which recently disbanded due to some tragedy within the band. But he does let me play a super sick song by them. It is called Slab City. We talk a little bit about that, and I love that song, so I asked him if I could play it, and he said yes. Everybody check out Christmas Cowboy on VOD everywhere, and don't forget to check out Marshes to Mountains on Bandcamp. It is the 100-plus track compilation charity album, and Courtney has a song on there as well. And this is my conversation with actor and musician Courtney Gains.
Prepare to be fascinated. Prepare to be fascinated.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I cannot complain. Actually, I can complain, and I'm about to. So, yesterday is when I got my delivery window for a washer and dryer, and that delivery window is from right now for the next 2 hours. So let's cross our fingers that they don't show up and ruin my day. Welcome to Fascination Street Podcast, Courtney Gains. How you doing today, man?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I am so excited. Ask me why.
Because your washer and dryer might come during our meeting.
How dare you? Oh, it's because I'm talking to you, man.
You can edit that out. That was just fun.
No way. I'm leaving that in. Courtney, what I like to do is I like to start from the beginning. It helps us understand how the guests got from where they were to where they are. So where were you born and raised, man? Where'd you grow up?
Believe it or not, I grew up in Los Angeles.
Where?
Silver Lake area.
Okay. All right. Cool,
Echo Park near Dodger Stadium.
Sure.
If you know that LA area.
Yeah, there's only about, I think, 8 people who were born in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's like you, and then there's Adam Carolla, and there might be one other person.
Yeah, most people go to LA, not from LA. That's true. And I grew up on, a bit of the wrong side of the tracks, tough neighborhoods and such.
Oh, we're gonna get there.
All
That
right.
leads directly into one of my favorite movies of yours.
Colors.
Colors, colors. Okay, Courtney, what was the plan, man? What did your parents want you to be? Did they have any idea what they wanted for you?
No, so I was fortunate that way, right? That kind of stuff wasn't imposed on me. My father tells a story when I was 6 that someone asked, "What are you going to be when you grow up?" And he said, I looked him dead in the eye and said, "I'm going to be an actor. Not I want to be an actor. I'm going to be." And he affected him. And he said, he thought to himself, if anything I can do to help him make that happen, I will. That's all I ever wanted to do. From the first time I did a play at 10 years old, I had the bug, and that's all I wanted to do.
What was the play?
The Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I played the prince. I came out, kissed her. The crowd applauds. I saved the world. I was hooked.
That's a pretty slippery slope for that to be your first experience because, you walk out and you kiss an unconscious girl and then the crowd goes crazy. You could have just jumped into porn. That sounds like every porn movie.
Or being Bill Cosby, right? Yeah.
Oh, shit. Along the way, we're going to talk about some of your acting credits, some of my personal favorites, and we're also going to talk about some of your music. Now, for those who don't know, Courtney has, oh my gosh, we're like 25-year music career as well. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time. You've been in bands and you're doing solo things, and you have a couple of new things that we can talk about. But first on that list, I want to talk about this new charity compilation that you're doing.
I live in Savannah, Georgia now. Savannah is a big music town. And this guy, Jim Reed, who is a musician here for 20 years, but he's also really a curator of movies, of music. He put together this massive compilation record called Marshes to Mountains. And this is to raise money for North Carolina for the disaster there on the 28th. I have friends in Asheville that just got blasted, And he's originally from North Carolina. So this compilation record, Marshes to Mountains, you can get it on Bandcamp, or you can go to savhelpswnc.com. That launches December 1st, and all the proceeds are going to go to help the hurricane victims of Hurricane Helene. So it comes out December 6th. There's over 100 tracks on this thing, and all the proceeds go to help them. And I have a new single I'm putting out on there that I'm very excited to put out on there called Wandering Dream. That is it's an epic banger of a rock tune. But there's, like I said, there's so many good musicians in this town and so many talented people that this is going to be quite the collection. Some of the releases are all the way from 1966, all the way to new releases in 2024. It's going to a good cause. So you can find it on Bandcamp, or you can go to Fake Fang Records, fakefang.com. So that's actually where my record is as well, that I put out last year, Safe Haven, which you can listen to for free. But really, it's about this good cause. So hopefully people go out there and support it. Probably be the best collection of Savannah music, really probably ever. Like I said, it's over 100 songs.
Marshes to Mountains.
Marshes to Mountains, right? Because marshes are Savannah and mountains is North Carolina, right? So,
did you say 100 tracks?
100 tracks. Yeah, I'm telling you, this guy is a serious curator. My friend Jim Reed, he's a drummer, and he's been doing music in this town for over 20 years, but he really knows literally everybody in this town. He's a guy who really helped me get established in this town doing music. So he's just collected this massive collection of material that he's going to put out.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Everybody go check that out. Bandcamp, look for Marshes to Mountains, or
yes, sir.
fakefangs.com.
That's right. Thank you.
Wow, that is sick as hell. Wow. So you live in Savannah now, but you grew up in Los Angeles.
Correct.
Why?
Why did I move?
Yeah, why'd you leave LA, man?
This song, oddly enough, not oddly enough, but really it's sort of reflecting on my 40 years of being in the business. 40 years Children of the Corn, this is the 40th anniversary of Children of the Corn. So it's really kind of a reflection of that whole grind of being in LA. All the people I've been burned by. Like, if you can make a movie with your friends and you're still friends afterward, that's like a miracle, to be honest. So it was a reflection on all of those years. The song's kind of like Johnny Cash meets really rock and roll, it's pretty cool. But I just burned out after being in LA for 35 years, grinding, 35 years professionally. I just needed to change. And it's been great. I've been here 6 years now. Only thing I miss about LA is mountains and good Mexican food. but I don't miss the traffic and I don't miss the whole LA thing. I really enjoy being here. And like I said, it's been a really big time music town. It's been a really great place for me to put a band together, and I play regularly out here and I really enjoy it.
I bet you don't miss the price of gas and also the taxes.
That's true too.
Why'd you pick Savannah? What about Savannah?
So my girlfriend, who was a school teacher in Brooklyn for 15 years, took many vacations here. And she kept trying to get me out of here, kept trying to get me out of here for years. And I'd be like, I'm on the West Coast. I'm not going to. So finally, she's just like, I'm taking you. She took me. I was like, this place is amazing. I've been through a lot of places in the United States. It's one of the most beautiful towns in the U.S. for sure, because it's so historic. It was built all in the 1700s. It wasn't destroyed in the Civil War. After Atlanta was wiped out, they came here and they gave them the keys to the city, so they didn't destroy it. And so it's this really amazingly preserved, historic downtown. It's really beautiful.
So I have some friends who live in Charlotte, and we all used to live in Louisville, but, we don't anymore. I live in Texas. And they came to visit a couple of months ago, and we were like, you know what? We don't get together enough. We should, yeah, you come to mine and I come to yours. But they were like, hey, we should meet somewhere that neither one of us live and hang out. And so we were trying to figure out some of the best places to go. And Savannah was top 3 on that list.
You'll be the farthest coming from Texas. If you're willing to come in spring. That's the best time to be here, weather-wise, and flowers are blooming and all of that. But better reserve something soon because it's very popular that time of year.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
We already started talking about music. Let's talk about some more music.
All right.
You have an album. I'm going to say it's new. I think you said it came out like a year ago or last year.
It's been about a year now almost, yeah.
Safe Haven.
Right.
Now, I bought this record yesterday.
Oh, you did? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I did. If you guys go to fakefangs.com, you can check out this album. It's called Safe Haven. I keep saying album. I think it's an EP. What is it?
Like EP, 6 songs.
6 songs.
And you can listen to it for free as well. 3 times for free before you decide if you want to buy it, which is cool.
For 3 times. Yeah. You could test drive it for 3 times and then buy it. I would suggest buying it. You're not going to regret it. And it's not very expensive. Everybody go check it out. Why music?
Why do I do music?
Yeah. And specifically what I mean is I talk to a lot of creative people, and none of the creative people can stay in their lane, so to speak.
That's absolutely true. If you're creative, most of them do more than one thing, whether they're famous for one thing, but they do multiple things, like, people are singers and they paint or whatever it is, right? So yeah, creatives just have to be creative. I started studying acting professionally at 13. I also started taking guitar lessons at 13. And I started writing, I don't know, maybe 16. And that's really the thing for me, the writing. It's just a way for me to express what's going on with me to various degrees, or subjects in my mind that I have angst with or want to express. It's the best way I can articulate a lot of things from my point of view, not as an actor. I'm playing somebody else's, something they wrote, this character, their point of view, right? But this is just my point of view. I don't know. I can't explain. I just love writing. That's really been the jazz for me.
Okay, well, I heard you once talk about this moment, so I want you to tell me, how does it feel the moment that you finish writing a song? Like, what does that do to you?
Yeah, it's euphoric. I can't explain it. When the muses start coming through you, you just have to finish it. Like sometimes it's lyrics that'll come first. Sometimes I'm just playing and a groove happens, and then these ideas start popping. You have to finish. Like even if I want to eat, I'm starving. I will not quit until I get done with, because you can't leave and come back. Once it's coming through, you have to go with it or you'll lose it. You know what I mean? It's a euphoric feeling. It's like the muse is coming through you, and that's doesn't happen every day. So when it does, you have to relish it, enjoy it, and don't judge it. Just whatever's coming through is coming through. That's something I learned as an actor. It's also something I taught acting for a long time. And a big part of the whole thing is to not be judging yourself. Get out of the way of the process. Just go for it.
Understood. Tell me about Acoustic Gains. I believe there's Acoustic Gains Volume 1. Have you done Volume 2 yet?
Technically, yes, I have. I actually think I finished it this year, but I haven't released it. I'm not sure when I'm going to release it. And that's all just acoustic instrumentals. So Acoustic Gains, you can find that on Spotify. That's just a number of songs that I wrote on acoustic guitar that I thought were acoustic tunes. Are some songs I did on my previous band, Ripple Street, that I wanted to do acoustically. So yeah, since 2020, basically, like everybody else, when the pandemic hit, you start going like, how much time I got left? I'm getting older. Like, what is it I really want to do that I haven't been doing? And I was like, I haven't been tracking songs, and the technology now is affordable. You can buy stuff and track where before it was kind of out of reach. So It started with this Acoustic Gains record that then led to this Safe Haven record. And like I've been doing a lot of tracking lately. And like I said, led to this last song, Wander and Dream. And things just keep exponentially getting better, and the quality of the recording and everything just keeps getting better. And it's a perfect example, though. Like I could easily said, like, oh, this acoustic record's not perfect, or this Ripple Street record, it sounds a little more like a demo than a full on, But I just like get out of the way, just put it out there. What I've learned over the years is you never know who you're going to affect with a song or with a movie. You just never know. Put it out there. I always find you put stuff out, the love comes back. That's what I've always found.
So let's talk about affecting people. You have or had, maybe it's on hiatus, a band called Ripple Street.
Yeah.
There's a song. It's called Slab City.
Yeah.
You play the bass, is that right?
I actually don't play the bass in that song. So that band is defunct. And the reason it's defunct is because the bass player, Stephen Lee Adams, who I was in a band with out of LA for, over a decade, passed away.
Oh, no.
He just passed away last year. So those were the last few songs I did with him. We were just good co-writers. I'm glad you brought that up, though, because I've got to be able to put his name out there. And so, no, he played that cool bass line on Slab City. That's his.
Well, I don't know if you're down for this, but since we were talking about him and that sick-ass song, Slab City, can I play that song on this episode?
Yeah, please do. That's a fun one.
So that everybody can kind of get an idea of what Ripple Street is about. And that bass line is funky as hell.
It is.
I love it.
I'm glad you brought it up.
Will you do me a favor? Would you introduce that song like you're a radio DJ?
All right. We're going to listen to Slab City from Ripple Street. Let's go.
Love it. I love how your eyebrows were bouncing around while you were talking. What kids, you got into character real quick, and that was amazing. You took a deep breath and you wiggled your eyebrows a little bit, and you went off to the races. Okay, so you have a song. It is called Journeyman.
Mm.
Is that with a band? Is that a solo project?
So that is quite a story, man. So here's the story. I tell it at gigs all the time before I play it. So my girlfriend and Matt Sorum, the drummer from Guns N' Roses' girlfriend, were best friends. And I met Matt. My girlfriend's like, play a song for him. I was like, oh, come on. She's like, go ahead, go ahead. So I played a song. He's like, hey, I like your voice. Let's do something. I'm like, you got to be kidding. He's like, no, let's do something. So I know the song. I put a band together, brought it in. He did a great job producing it. And what it needed in the end was like a really shredding blues rock lead over the top of it. And I was like, that's what we need. I've got to find it. And he calls me and he's like, hey, man, guess who's going to be playing your lead for you? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, Slash needs to come up here and do something. So I asked him to do it. I said, you got to be freaking kidding me, man. So I heard that Slash always likes to have a bottle of Jack when he plays, when he does records. So I bought him the biggest bottle of Jack I could find. And I just said, thanks for being here. It was just an insane experience to watch him play. You know, when someone's really great, it doesn't even look like they're working hard, but like just the results are amazing. That's what it was like to watch him do his thing. So that song ended up getting put on a compilation record of a label of a friend of mine up in Northern California in the 90s. It ended up doing really good in college radio. It got a lot of play, which was pretty cool. And it's been in a number of movies. It's in a movie that I had just come out recently called My Redneck Neighbors, who do you think plays the redneck neighbor?
I got a hunch.
But so it continues to get out there and it continues to get talked about and it continues to get picked up. So having someone of the quality of a Matt Sorum produce the record for you, the quality was just fantastic, you know?
Without any specific details on something like that, where, you know, Matt's producing and then Slash comes in and lays some shit down. This is going to sound weird, but again, no details. Is that something that like Slash got paid one time for, or does he get paid forever?
He didn't get paid at all. He did it as a favor to Matt.
He got a bottle of Jack Daniels and that's it.
He wanted to come up and record something he needed to get recorded quickly. So he came to Matt's studio and Matt was producing the record, so he asked him to do it. And the cool thing was we ended up having a really, really amazing engineer that had just got off a Stones record working on it as well for practically nothing. And that guy set the tone working with Slash. And so like Slash did a lead and then this guy was like, oh, that note sounds a little flat. That, like, you know, because he really knows he has big ears, this guy. And so they sat there and they re-punched in everything and cleaned up the whole track and made it great. If we hadn't had an engineer at that level, that wouldn't have happened. And then when Slash left, Matt said, you know, if he didn't like the song, he would have just done one pass and left. And I was just like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Quite frankly, he probably doesn't even remember doing it at this point. It's like in his life, it's just just another day. You know, to my life, it's a peak of music experience, you know.
Well, everybody go check that song out. It's called Journeyman, and it is sick as hell. If you think the story was good, wait till you hear the song. It's a great, great track.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
100% my pleasure. Now, a lot of people don't know where they were the week of February 17th, 1989, but I do. I was in the movie theater, and I was watching the best movie that came out that year, in my opinion. It is called The Burbs.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and just tell you what was in the theaters the week that The Burbs was in the theaters.
Interesting.
All right. And this is going to be in order of box office.
Oh.
Number one, The Burbs. Congratulations, by the way.
We were actually number one?
Number one this week. Yep.
I didn't know that.
You know who was number two? That's right. Rain Man. Number three.
Rain Man?
You sure did. Number three,
crazy.
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, wow.
Now, again, I don't know how long these other films had been in the theater.
Probably a while would be my guess. Yeah.
But you guys are crushing it. So this list of movies is some of the best movies in history. The Burbs, Rain Man, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, Three Fugitives, The Fly 2, Beaches, Cousins, Dangerous Liaisons,
Wow.
Working Girl, and The Land Before Time. What?
That's a killer lineup. That's crazy.
That is a crazy lineup. Now, the reason that I know that that's where I was that day is because I was a huge fan of Corey Haim and Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is no slouch himself in the movies.
And let's not forget my fave, Bruce Dern.
Bruce Dern is sick as hell.
Big fan.
Yeah, that guy. Holy moly, that guy's amazing. So I went to the movies and I saw The Burbs. And then I went over and I saw Three Fugitives. And then I went back and I saw The Burbs again. This is all on the same day. And then I went and saw The Burbs again. So I saw The Burbs 3 times the day it came. But here's the thing. I didn't pay for any of those. I snuck into the theater and I stayed all damn day.
That's the way to do it. Back in the day in the malls, right? Where the multiplexes just bounce back and forth. That's what we all did.
That's right. It kept me out of trouble.
Yeah.
The kind of trouble that you got in or maybe could have gotten into when you were growing up.
For sure.
The Burbs. This is a Joe Dante film. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. How did you come to be a part of this film?
So this one was one of the easier ones I got. At that point, I was on a pretty good roll, in my 80s run. And all I had to do was come in and take a meeting with him. I just took what they call a general meeting. When you're really doing good, you don't even have to audition anymore. You just take these general meetings. I don't remember anything I said to him about what I thought about the role or how to play it. I just remember I wore this funky green shirt with this funky yellow tie. I just thought I would come in because the character was kind of weird and quirky, so I came in funky. And we just hit it off, and he gave me the job. And I gave Joe all the credit in the world for coming up with the character. He was like, go here and get these teeth made. Bring them back. Go to the haircut. I want a bad haircut. Take this swath of clothing and go have them make some lederhosen and then bring them back. I mean, I never had anybody so engaged like that, And then I'd put this whole outfit together and he would laugh and he goes, you're never going to work again. And he's like, come up with this like Slavic or Norwegian type accent, but not specific. So nobody knows where you're from. I'm like, okay. So I just took all these notes that he compiled together to pull it together. And the only thing that I did, that was the genius on my part was there's a technique that like Dustin Hoffman uses a lot called working with an animal essence. Like he did it, his famous character Ratso Rizzo, but if you look at all his characters, he does it if you know what you're looking for. So I worked with the essence of a scared deer, a deer in the headlights. And that worked. That played really well,
That comes off.
But the rest of it, man, was all Joe. Nobody's been more informative to me than Joe Dante is. Great guy to work for. I've worked for him a couple of times. Super nice guy. I'd work for him again anywhere, any place.
Love it. One of your co-stars in The Burbs is the aforementioned Corey Feldman.
Yes.
You don't have to if you don't want to, but what was your experience like working with the Feldster?
So I was pretty much off in my trailer hanging out with Brother Theodore, who was really an interesting man, not at all who you would think he'd be. He's very cultured and very interesting. That's a character he creates as a political satire, that he would do this show, the Brother Theodore Review in New York every summer. Play chess, spot you a queen, and kill you. I mean, he was that guy. So Corey was kind of off on his own deal. So most of when I worked with him, it was just fine, and I think he did a great job. I think Corey's one of the best shot-out actors that ever came along. But I know, afterward, as he got into doing reality TV and stuff, he got a little crazy. But as an actor, I had a good time working with him. But I didn't hang out with him a lot. He pretty much kept to himself.
That's almost exactly the same review that I got when I talked to William McNamara.
Mm-hmm.
They worked on Dream a Little Dream together.
I've worked with Matt.
Oh, have you? Tell me,
yes.
What did you work with him on?
I worked with him on, what was it? It's The Ascent. And it was one of the worst experiences I've had working with a group of actors in my life.
Oh, no. Was William part of the bad experience?
He's just interesting, right? Like he'll start, talking about alien abductions right out of the gate. And you're like, dude, I don't know you enough for you to be busting this information out to me right now.
Love that.
But he's a nice guy, super nice guy.
Oh yeah, super good dude, and he's really into animals. Like during one of the
yes.
LA fires, he snuck past like a bunch of the firefighter line just to go save some horses and whatnot. Like
he is just absolutely crazy enough to do that.
Yeah. That is him. That is him.
Hey, Streetwalkers! Here's a word from our sponsors.
Karen Silkwood had a purpose. She was headed to a crucial meeting that would blow the whistle on the billion-dollar nuclear corporation she worked for. Instead, she died in a concrete culvert on a dark, desolate stretch of highway just outside of Crescent, Oklahoma. To discredit her, authorities and the institution Karen sought to expose called her nothing more than an emotionally disturbed and sexually promiscuous drug abuser. But in her death, she became a martyr for feminism, environmentalism, and pro-labor movements. From the creators of Gone Cold, Texas True Crime comes Silkwood, a story that remains one of the most explosive conspiracies in 20th century America and became the inspiration for a critically acclaimed movie. Silkwood dives deep into 28-year-old whistleblower Karen Silkwood, her relentless fight for truth, and the chilling events that followed. Betrayal, danger, and a mysterious, unsolved death that still haunts the nation 5 decades later. Seeking justice, Karen went up against a corporate Goliath and paid the ultimate price. With no known witnesses, what happened to Karen Silkwood on that cold November night? Was it an accident? Was she silenced for knowing too much? Or something far more sinister? In a world where profits are placed above safety, Silkwood takes you inside a gripping true tale of corporate greed, government cover-ups, and the deadly secrets inside a nuclear industry titan. Don't miss this eye-opening journey into one of the most powerful stories of our time. Find Silkwood on your favorite podcast platform and hit that subscribe button now. Some secrets are too dangerous to stay hidden.
Let's get back into it.
When I told my sister that I was going to be talking to you, I said, hey, do you remember that movie, Children of the Corn? And she goes, yeah. And I go, do you remember? And then she interrupted me and said, Malachi? And I go, yeah. And she goes, holy fuck. My favorite thing he's ever done is You Can't Buy Me Love. And then she just goes, you shit on my house.
That's it. That's the quote.
Did you know there's a t-shirt that you can get with you on it that says you shit on my house?
I'm sure. Yes, I believe it. I believe it. I've got a story about that if you'd like to hear it.
Hit me with that.
In the script, what was written was this big, long monologue, what I hate, which is called extemporaneous comp. It was like, I was your friend. I did it for free. Yeah.
A lot of exposition.
Right, which is what I don't like. I don't think any actor does, but I certainly do as much as I can to avoid it as possible. We don't have to tell the audience, don't tell them. If they've already seen it, why you tell them? But so by that point, Steve Rash, the director, who I was a fan of, he had directed the Buddy Holly story, which I thought was a fantastic film. So I was excited to work with him. He's a great guy. But by that time, we'd had a good relationship. We went in to do a rehearsal, just Patrick, myself, and him in Patrick's trailer, which is not normally what's done. So we had time to work on this, which is to discuss it, not in front of people, which is great. And he's like, so what do you think of this scene? And I was like, all of this? I don't want to say it. He's like, what? Because actors don't say they don't want lines, right? He goes, what would you say? I said, this one line right here, you shit on my house. That's what I would say. And he's like, okay, let's do it. That ended up, being the moment that it is in that movie. And the other story was Jerry Henshaw, who produced it, came to see me on the Burbs set when it got sold to Disney, to Touchstone. It was one of Touchstone's first movies. He said they tried to take that out. And he said the Suits tried to take that scene out of the movie. And he was this big 300 plus pound dude. He said, I stood up and I started pounding on the desk and I said, you're not taking that fucking line out of my fucking movie. Do you understand? And they said, okay. Thank God, Jerry kept it in there and it's gone on to be
T-shirt worthy.
quotable line, right? Quotable line. So yeah, that's a great lesson in less is more.
Oh, I love that. So you've been in a few films, a lot of films. Well, you've been in a shitload of films, but there's a few that just are always on TV.
Correct.
Sweet Home Alabama, nonstop on TV. Back to the Future.
Are the two that are always on television, yes.
So Back to the Future, what? We're looking at 40 years next year, right? 1985? Is that when it came out?
Yeah, I guess so. It's 86, 85, 86.
Yeah, something like that. So we're looking at 40 years. Now, again, no specifics. I've heard that there's diminishing returns, but do you still get a decent paycheck from Back to the Future and or Sweet Home Alabama?
Yeah, those two are two of the better ones. One of the reasons, obviously, they play on TV a lot, but the other reason is the Back to the Future story. When I started doing the movie, I was only, I made 3 days or 4 days work on it, right? But Eric Stoltz was still on the movie before he got canned. And so in contracts, you have this thing called a drop pickup where they can drop you one time from a movie, but then when they bring it back on, they can't drop you again. So I'd already done my drop pickup. So when they were reeling and reshooting, we reached out to them, but they were so crazy they weren't paying attention. When they finally called back on me, I'd been on payroll for about 5 weeks.
Instead of 3 days?
Instead of 3 days, yeah. And we negotiated something, but it still was a much bigger payday than I would have had otherwise. Then, of course, it's gone on to be, Back to the Future is still think, if not the biggest, one of the top 3 biggest trilogies of all time. So the residual income on it has been, a blessing in my career. Helped me pay my rent many a time. So thank you, Back to the Future.
Does your compensation, like your royalties, is that based on how long you were shooting or how much of the movie you're in?
It's based on how much money you made.
Oh, okay.
And then from there, how often it plays. Like that's sort of the scale of how they figure out how they pay it. I don't know. That's what the union figures all that stuff out. But basically,
Gotcha.
yeah. So by getting paid more in that movie and then it going on to be so successful, anytime you can be in a studio film, that does well, your residuals on that's going to be a good thing for the rest of your life.
You mentioned that Back to the Future is one of the best trilogies.
It's one of the most profitable, that's for sure.
Well, that's true. Well, and it's one of the most beloved.
Yes,
sure.
absolutely.
I want to talk about a different trilogy. Tell me about your part of the Beaver trilogy.
Well, that's a great segue, though, because you're talking about Crispin Glover. That was the first thing I ever did was the short film.
So this was even before Children of the Corn?
Yes. Okay. First thing I ever did on camera was this short for the American Film Institute. And so I get cast, I come in, it's me and this guy, and the director's like, okay, so you two, you're smoking in the boys' room. Okay, let's rehearse. So we're doing whatever we're doing. All of a sudden, the bathroom door opens, and it's an unknown Crispin Glover dressed in the black outfit of Olivia Newton-John.
From Grease?
From Grease. And he's doing the Crispin video. Oh, hey, guys, what's up? How's it going? And I'm watching going, obviously surprised by the look, but I'm going, who the hell is this actor? He's amazing, right? He's amazing. So we did that, got to know him a bit, and we became friends a bit. So it was so great that when I got on Back to the Future that he came and knocked right on my trailer, opened the day, said, hey, how's it going? And so I had a friend. And of course, all my scenes are with him anyway. So I felt much more comfortable roughhousing him, kicking him in the ass and doing whatever we had to do because we had a relationship already. And I think Crispin's a wonderful, interesting, unique, talented actor. Great to get to work with him.
God, the talent off of that guy is insane.
But yeah, then this short went on to be made 3 times, one of them with Sean Penn, and it's like they ended up combining them all and putting out this thing called the Beaver Trilogy, which Crispin still will say it's one of the best things he's ever done. He loves it. So it's been this unique thing about this guy, this filmmaker who offed himself. And I don't understand how 3 people have made the story. I don't know. I'm not explain this project, how it's had so much life, but it's cool. And it's had some really great actors play the role. And they were unknowns at the time.
That's dope. That was a time that you worked with Crispin before Back to the Future. There was another guy in Back to the Future that you ended up working with way later. Oh, I'm sure a bunch, but specifically I'm talking about Christopher Lloyd. You did a movie a few years back called Queen Bees.
Correct.
Now, my in-laws are living in like a retirement community and we visit them all the time. And I don't know, 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, they have movie night or whatever at the facility. They said, hey, we watched this movie last night. You guys got to watch this. You're going to love it. It's called Queen Bees.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so we checked it out like the very next day. And when your scene came around, I went, holy fuck. That's the guy from, and I just started naming all this shit because that's what I do. And my wife was just like, okay, are you done talking yet? I'm trying to watch a movie. Anyway, everybody, Queen Bees is a movie that basically takes place in a retirement community, and it has the most amazing roster of actors. And it is Jimmy Cahn's, I believe, second to last
film. Correct.
I know you didn't get to work with Jimmy Cahn, but tell everybody who you did get to work with on this piece.
First of all, how I got that job was I had been in a comedy workshop in LA with him. So when I first moved out to Savannah, they were shooting in Atlanta, and I reached out to him and said, hey, I'm out here now. And so I had to go out there and audition for him, and he gave me the job. But yeah, the great opportunity was I got to work with Anna Margaret. I got to work with Jane Curtin, 4 iconic actresses, basically. So it was just a ton of fun.
Ellen Burstyn,
thank you.
And Loretta Devine, is that?
Correct.
All right.
Correct. And they were all great to work with, and I had a lot of fun. For me, Jane Curtin was the one. Just an original SNLer, and she couldn't have been nicer. When I first got introduced, she's like, oh, I know you. You've been in everything. I mean, how cool is that Jane Curtin said that to me, right? Mm-hmm. But she just made me feel at home. I always appreciate when the stars of a project make you feel welcome. That goes a long way.
Yeah, I heard that Chevy Chase does the same thing. So
I've heard nothing but horror stories about that dude, man. I've never worked with them, but
Me either. Okay, so you were working with Bob Gale.
Yeah.
On a thing, and then Kevin Dillon gets arrested. What is happening right now?
Yeah. So Tales of the Crypt. Bob Gale, who wrote Back to the Future, reached out to me when he was doing a Tales of the Crypt and said, "You want to do this?" And I'm like, "Tales of the Crypt? Hell yeah." So the first couple of days in, a not super known Kevin Dillon at that point doesn't make it to work. And apparently what happened was he had a warrant for a driving violation or something in LA that he never paid and went back to New York. And when he came back, he got caught and they put him in jail. So they had to go get Kevin Dillon out of jail so he could keep shooting.
I love that. Did you even know who he was at that time?
He wasn't that known yet. I mean, he'd been working some, but this was pre The Doors. That was pre Entourage, all that.
I love that. Okay, so I'm in San Antonio, Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're in a movie called Texas Rising where, I don't know, on your first day you show up, they have set fire to the Alamo.
You've done your research.
Thank you. On behalf of San Antonio, can you please tell everybody to stop setting the Alamo on fire? Like we don't like that.
No, right. No need to set it on fire. But yeah, so that was a mini series that we shot in Mexico. That was an epic project for History Channel. And the first day though, I had to go out and meet the director. That's when the project starts pretty much is when the Alamo is done. I've been to the actual Alamo. It was actually the size of the freaking Alamo.
Oh, wow.
It was massive. It was incredible. It was the sets were some of the biggest sets I've ever been on. Like you'd go on the set and you wouldn't know where the set was. Like you'd be like, where do I got to go? And that's not normal. And they'd have 100+ extras. You'd rehearse your part. Like, okay, you're in your horse and you ride here, but they wouldn't do the extras part. They'd been rehearsing for hours and you say action and they'd all start moving. And it was like you were in a real war. It was amazing. You were trying to do your part while all this is happening, you know? It was an incredible experience. It was literally epic. It's probably the most epic project I've been on in a long time. I mean, epic.
A long time ago, you said a thing, and I want you to explain what you meant by this, if you can. You said, and I quote, "I can play Jesus and I can play the devil." What does that mean?
That means I've got range, son. That's what that means.
I've got range, son.
A lot of people, say they can play things or whatever, but I mean, I think that the reason I've been able to last this long is because I think I am a good character actor. And I believe I have that range. I can play Jesus and I can play the devil. And that's a pretty wide range.
Have you?
I've not played Jesus yet. I would like to, though. That would be interesting. I might be getting too old.
Have you played the devil?
I've certainly played enough characters who are close to the devil.
Yeah, no kidding.
Hey, Streetwalkers, here's a word from our sponsors.
This episode is sponsored by Murray River Salt USA, Australia's only naturally pink salt. What makes Murray River Salt so good? Murray River Salt is sourced from the Murray-Darling Basin in Australia and is prized for its unique flavor, its delicate texture, its high mineral content, and it's kosher certified. Awarded for superior taste by the International Taste Institute. It's highly sought after by chefs and food enthusiasts alike. Naturally different with 2/3 less sodium per teaspoon, no dextrose, no chemicals, no pesticides, and Murray River's high mineral content not only enhances the flavor but also contributes to its health benefits. And it contains a range of trace minerals like magnesium, calcium, and potassium. This pristine saline water source has been trapped underground for thousands of years and has not been exposed to the elements until it is pumped up for salt production, where the brine is solar evaporated and crystallizes over the summer months. Murray River Salt comes in a variety of options, from pouches to canisters, boxes, and even gift sets for that chef or foodie in your life. Finally, Australia's only naturally pink salt is available here in the United States. For 10% off your order, go to murrayriversaltusa.com and use the code FSP10 at checkout. Again, that's 10% off your whole order at murrayriversaltusa.com with the promo code FSP10. And remember, it's perfect for any dish, so sprinkle it on your food as a finishing salt for a hydrating boost of electrolytes, throw it in some water, and It's great for margaritas, too. Everything tastes better with Murray River Salt.
Let's get back into it.
All right. One of my favorite movies, and maybe the first one I ever bought on VHS. You were in a movie called Colors. This is going to sound weird to everybody listening, but this film and your role is fairly autobiographical for you.
Sort of, yeah.
Sort of. Tell me about you being a white dude who's a cholo white dude. Tell me about that.
Right. So I was not a gangbanger. I didn't join a gang. I wasn't in a gang, but I grew up in those neighborhoods.
In the movie, sorry. Yeah.
But I did grow up in those neighborhoods in Echo Park and Silver Lake where, it was predominantly Chicano. And like my best friend growing up in grammar school in junior high became a gangbanger. And like that was a falling out because like he could no longer associate with me the same. But at the same time, the truth of the matter is that guy kept me protected through junior high and high school. Nobody messed with me because of him.
Nice.
Not like he ever told me that, but I know that that's what's up. So I grew up with a bunch of guys. My best friends weren't bangers. We all were like, we got to get the hell out of here. So as soon as we could leave, we left. But I know a lot of guys who were dead or in jail, man. And that's just the straight up truth. So when I was doing Can't Buy Me Love with Gerardo Mejia, we did 3 movies in a row together. We did a motorcycle movie called Winners Take All. We did Can't Buy Me Love, and then we did Colors. He knew that I had grown up in the neighborhoods, and he was a pop locker and all this stuff. That's how he got started in the film business. So when he got the script, he came to me and said, dude, you're not going to believe it. Dennis Hopper's doing this gangbanger movie, and there's a white boy in the gang, dude. You got to get in on this. So I called my manager, Virgil Fry, who actually was friends with Dennis Hopper. He helped him make Easy Rider. As soon as I got back, literally the day I got back from shooting in Arizona on Can't Buy Me Love, I went and took a meeting, again, general meeting, because I was at that point, and they were having trouble finding a guy. Of course, a white guy who knew the neighborhood, knew the stuff. So I walked in and I said, yeah, man, I know all this stuff. And they're like, all right, it's yours. So it was like him and Sean Penn were in the room and one of the producers, and they gave me the job on the spot. And I was excited because I wanted to represent that. I knew there was white guys in the gangs, but like I knew that was not something that was known. And I knew that Dennis Hopper would do something real, and then bringing in Haskell Wexler as a DP, who's like a great documentarian type filmmaker, it's like perfect because it gives it that street grit. That movie was at the time groundbreaking. It broke West Coast rap. Gary Gessman, who's gone on to become a huge producer for Tom Hanks, was the music supervisor on that movie. Broke Ice-T and a whole bunch of people.
That was my first exposure to Ice-T for sure.
Yeah.
That was an amazing film. I probably have seen that film 10, 12, 15 times. I mean, that movie is amazing. And it was groundbreaking. Yeah, for sure.
Great DP. And Dennis Hopper has a great eye. He's a bit of a madman. And nobody has gotten more out of me than him. Like I was the 87th character on the list, and nobody got more out of me than that guy. He saw me playing guitar, sitting on my trailer playing guitar. When he was going to the bathroom, he stopped, he looks, goes away, never thinks about it. Last scene of the movie, he's like, Whitey. You always just call me my character, Whitey, go get your guitar. So that song that we ended up playing, I mean, how cool a cholo playing guitar? How cool is that? But he just filed it. He saw me. Weeks later, he still remembered it, threw it at me. People still hit me up about that song. It's called Love Guaranteed. I'm like, I don't know. Find the girl. She wrote it. Not me. She was the one who approached Dennis and said, I have this song. And he's like, let's do it. I just thought that was like cool. He's like, let's go with that. And it gave it a party vibe before the tragedy of one of the best acting moments I've ever seen in my life. I'm a huge Duvall fan, and he lived up to the hype, my friend. He lived up to the hype. Best scene I've ever seen was him dying in that movie. Yeah, best thing I've ever seen.
Were you on set to watch him die?
I was like 4 feet from the guy. Yeah, it was incredible. It taught me 2 things. One was he'd been lying on the ground. They had a Fernie pad for him. It's like 3 a.m, waiting. Finally, they're like, we're ready. And then so he's about ready to go. And then they're like, oh, we have a lighting problem. 40 minutes go by. Robert Duvall is lying in the dirt, and I'm just like, my God, this is Robert Duvall. How could they do this to him in his biggest scene? They finally come to him, Dennis, like, you ready? He's like, I'm ready. And then he just blows the roof off. And I went up to him and I said, dude, that was awesome. He goes, well, I wish that was my close-up because I don't know if I have another one in me like that. Which I thought, wow. Because, he'd been holding it for so long, right? So what they did, if you look at the film, if you look at his close-up, it's at a weird 45-degree angle a little bit, and it's really grainy. I'm convinced they blew up his master into the close-up for the last part because it was so transcending, you know? You literally see it, the light get light as he leaves. It's like he leaves his body. It's just a phenomenal piece of work. So yeah, he was a class act from soup to nuts, and he's been one of my faves, and it was really just an honor to get to work with him.
What are the chances that you were in the mix to play Miklo in Blood In, Blood Out?
I auditioned for it.
I knew it.
Yeah, because that's how LA is, right? You know, they only know what's in front of their face, right? It was like, that's really how it is. And that's the perfect worst example of it. It was like, after that, I think the next 3 or 4 roles I went up for were for gangbangers, right? The smart thing I did in my career in that 80s realm was to not want to play the same thing twice. And I was able to do that and have success in a bunch of genres. But I wanted that role. That role was like the lead, you know? I think having seen the film that I probably didn't have the age and gravitas to play him when he became the leader. I don't know that I could have pulled that. So I don't know if I was the guy for the job anyway. I think the guy that did it, Damien, did a great job. But what happened at the time, though, and I auditioned for Taylor Hackford, right? The scene they had us do, they wanted the character to cry at this one beat. And I was just like, ain't no homeboy crying at this moment in the scene. And they really got mad at me. And I was like, I can cry. You want to just cry? I just want to cry. But like, that's not how I would play this. and I was just, young and cocky. And I figured I know this shit way better than you do. And they didn't like it. They kind of rubbed Hackford the wrong way. But I think you got to come in, with your point of view on a role. I think that's the most important thing, is what you think and how you're going to interpret something. Sometimes they like it. Sometimes they don't. But what a great role. What a great role.
I know you maybe don't think you could have pulled off the later years of that role, but I think that the movie was amazing, but I think that it might have been just a little bit better if you were in it.
I thought he did a great job.
Oh, he did. No.
One of those things, when you look at it, you go like, oh, they should have cast me. I would have smoked that guy. And I don't feel that way about it. So
love that.
I think he did a great job. That was his job. That was his job to get. That was his job to do. So good on him. And good movie. Interesting movie.
Oh, real quick. Was it Colors that you pulled a knife out at your audition?
No, that's how I got Children of the Corn.
Children of the Corn. Oh, tell that story.
So I had this little like toy knife, one of those ones like in my pocket. And I thought maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't. And I was reading with this guy who was the reader, and I just trusted my impulse, and I pulled it really fast, and he couldn't see it was under his throat. He was wetting himself, and I could see the corner of my eye, the director and the producer look at each other like, whoa. What it gave me was ownership of the room. A young kid, it gave me the power, which is what, I needed. So then in the callback, they already cast John Franklin. And so he had 3 people to read with. I was one of the 3. And I just remember picking him up literally off the floor in his lapel. And he said, he's gone on to say, you were by far the, scariest guy to come in the room. And you definitely nailed it. The reader, who was our voice coach, went on to become Jeff Greenberg, who became a major casting director, particularly in comedies like shows like Wings and stuff like that. I read for him many times. He never cast me in anything.
Does he ever mention it? Is he like, you're not getting this job?
He does. He's done many lectures and he says, do not do that. But I always think it's a weird story to tell people because he's absolutely right. You take a risk like that, it can totally work against you. You can never read for those people again. But on the other hand, people are thinking and going, yeah, but the guy got that part, right? So it's like, it works. So it's like, they got to be thinking both things. Like, you shouldn't do that, but he did get the part. So, but yeah, you just never know who's going to become what. And he, like I said, he went on to become a very, very successful casting director. So I got one job, but lost a lot of other jobs.
So where did you get the inspiration to do that?
Well, I know that I think in the script it said he pulls a knife in the scene, but my mentality was this. It was that I'd been studying for 5 years, in a professional workshop. I was ready to go. I felt I had something to prove. The actual casting director had tried to cast me in something else. She was a fan. She was the first person to get behind me, Linda Francis. And I thought I had something to prove. So I went in there and I proved it,
Yes, you did. I don't know if everybody my age was, I guess, well, they probably were since this movie has gone on and we're still talking about it. This movie scared the shit out of me. I was, I think, 10 years old when this came out.
There you go. Yeah.
And I was fucking horrified. And so, I'm from Texas. I'd never been anywhere up to that point. And so when I finally ever did go to Iowa, 25 years later or whatever, I was looking over my shoulder the whole fucking time for you.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
How afraid were you that you were going to get typecast? Did you even think anybody was going to see this movie?
No, I was not mentally prepared for what happened at all. The reaction to myself and John was very strong. You know, like kids would see the movie because it said children in it. Kids would literally see me and like go running to their parents crying and stuff. And I just was not prepared for something like that, you know? So it was very overwhelming getting recognized for such a strong reaction like that. So that was the beginning of like, I can't get pigeonholed in this. You know, that was the beginning of like, I can't play the same thing twice. And I already had Hard Bodies kind of lined up when I got back. So then I did that. And then I did Lust and Dust. So I did a couple comedies and was already kind of, shifting the business. And then that led to Can't Buy Me Love. And so I was able to do a wide range of projects. And I think that's really, in hindsight, the smartest thing I ever did, because that was what I think led me. I was able to make it out of just being a child actor into a transition into adult actors. I had a big enough body of work that people could see that I wasn't just, a one-hit wonder or got lucky.
You mentioned child actor. Weren't you 18 when you made this film?
I was 18 playing 15. That was the thing in teenage cinema, to be 18 so you could work full-time, but look 15. That was the key. So to have 5 years training and be 18 but look younger, I was at the right place at the right time. And I was able to, seize the day. But yeah, but still, I was, 18. I was a kid. You're still a young person. I'm glad I didn't start maybe working too much younger than that, because that 5 years I put in really taught me to appreciate it as a craft. Because a lot of the people in my acting class, a lot of young actors who broke out within a couple of years stopped studying after that. They thought they didn't need to anymore. And I was smart enough to realize that wasn't going to work, and so I kept studying I was teaching or studying my whole life until I left LA. So I've always worked in my craft. And I think that's been a big help in terms of the longevity.
Absolutely. You and Ralph Macchio.
Yeah, no, Ralph Macchio is a perfect example. But at that time, you had to be 18 to work. The emancipation laws weren't what they are now. So you had to be 18. So it was all about being 18 and looking younger. And if you had some chops, you could get some work.
Yeah, like even The Breakfast Club, I think half the cast was in their mid-20s.
Yep. You go back even further, like films or shows like movies like Fame, they all look like they were like 30 years old.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We talked a little bit about the music that you have coming out and that is out currently, but what do you have on the acting front?
It's been a good year, busy year. Number one, because I've done a ton of cons because it's 40th anniversary of Corn, but also a lot of indie film. And so I have one that just came out called Christmas Cowboy, and you can find it like on VOD and Apple Plus and all that. But the reason I want to talk about that is because the last thing I ever thought I would get cast in is a holiday movie. So that was a real joy to get cast. And I started the year in January shooting this thing, and it's out. And I got to play a character that I wouldn't get to play every day either. I got to play a billionaire developer, land developer, but he's a little crazy and eccentric. And he has a good purpose in the movie, why he's there, to why he brings this girl back from this big city back to her hometown, classic sort of Hallmarkian type story, sort of Sweet Home Alabama, but, Christmas.
What are the chances you were able to finagle your song about billionaires, Bills in Space? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I was not able to get that in there. That's a good idea, though, because, of course, it's a Christmas movie, right? But yeah, so that's out right now. It literally came out this week. If you're looking for something to watch in the holidays, check it out. It's a romantic comedy. It's a lot of fun.
And it's called
Christmas Cowboy.
Christmas Cowboy on VOD everywhere, guys.
That's right.
That's rad. So that's going to be one of those movies that, seasonally, you're going to get a big fat paycheck on.
I don't know, straight to VOD. I was hoping we got a little bit bigger release than we got, but it was a good project. Hopefully it will keep popping up every year. That would be nice if it keeps in that holiday circle.
Rotation. Yeah.
Rotation.
For sure.
That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. We'll see. But like I said, I never thought I'd get a chance to even do one like that. So that was a lot of fun for me.
So is there a genre you haven't done? Now that you've done a Christmas movie, is there something you haven't done yet?
It's a good question. I think the only thing I probably haven't done would be then like a Shakespearean, a classic, piece like that. I'm up for that too. I don't think people think I can do that, but I can do that.
Oh, I bet you can. Hey, bro, you could play Jesus and the devil.
That's right. I can play Jesus, the devil, and Hamlet, son. Let me tell you.
And Hamlet, son. So other than this Christmas movie, do you have some other things? You said it's been a busy year.
Yeah, so let's see. What else have I done? I did a movie called Infernal, a cameo in a horror film. Joe Castor did the effects on it. Great effects artist. I just won Best Trailer at Shockfest and hasn't even come out yet.
Oh, wow.
So Infernal, there's that. And I just did a movie called The Barn Part 3, which is another very indie horror movie. But I didn't realize it's a franchise that's actually known. At the last convention I did right before I shot it, to go to Pennsylvania to shoot it, all kinds of people were coming up to me saying, "Hey, I hear you're doing The Barn Part 3." I was like kind of surprised. And I get to play the lead in it, which is nice. Actually, I played the lead character from the first one 30 years later. So that's kind of an interesting thing to do. We've shot most of it. I got to go back in March to finish it off. Out of the trilogy, I'm feeling confident it's going to be the best of the three. I just think the cinematography and the lighting and everything is on a higher level, and hopefully the performances. Not to say the first guy did a great job, though. Actually, he's gone on to work plenty. So, but I just think the overall performances, I think, is going to be good. So, The Barn Part 3, I think, will be out next October for sure.
Well, I hope that it is as successful as Terrifier 3 was this year.
No, well, come on, man. Yeah, come on. Terrifier, man. I remember I was shooting a movie called Candy Corn, produced it, was in it, the horror film, when Terrifier came out. When I saw those guys at the convention, I went to them and I said, "This character is the best horror character I've seen in a decade. You're going to be huge." And now look at them.
Yeah, they won the box office for like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. It's massive now. If you have to put me in one, I'm pissed off at them for that. So, maybe Terrifier 4, they'll let my ass in,
I'll reach out to Clint and see if he can't get you in there.
There you go. Yeah. Well, I talk to those dudes all the time at conventions, though I'm stopping conventions after this year pretty much. I'm pretty much done.
Why?
I'm tired. I've been doing them 20 years.
Well, you were doing them before there was conventions. You were just showing up to haunted houses and shit, right?
Yeah, you've really done your research. Yes, that's correct. We kind of invented it, turns out. Really, it was all John Franklin's idea. But yeah, so 20 years been doing this thing. And 40th anniversary of Children of the Corn. I think that's the way to go out on top. And the truth of the matter is I'm just tired. I think flying sucks nowadays. It's a real pain in the ass. I'm just getting tired of it. So I just want to take a break. So I got a couple more next year to finish it off from agreements we made this year. And then I'm putting up something amazing, like, "Hey, do you want to go to Australia?" Like, okay, I'm listening. You got my attention. Otherwise, I think, I'm about ready to call it a day. I just want to focus more on playing the music and doing that kind of thing.
As we're heading out, Courtney, congratulations on 40 years of Children of the Corn.
Thank you, boss.
You are welcome. And next year, congratulations on 40 years of Back to the Future. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And, now that you're really transitioning your focus more into music, dude, I wish you 40 years of continued musical success. Your music is great.
Oh, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Like I said, I did buy Safe Haven, and I think that everybody else should too. Yeah, like you said, you can listen to it for free 3 times or whatever, but get halfway through it and then just buy it like I did. Then you can listen to it as many times as you want. And I just so everybody knows, when you buy the physical CD, you also get the MP3s. So
That's true.
While you're waiting for it to show up in the mail, like I am, you get to listen to it as much as you want to on your phone. And again, that is at fakefangus.com.
Correct.
Everybody, don't forget, go to Bandcamp and check out Marshes to Mountains. That is the new compilation with 100 tracks to benefit charity.
Over 100 tracks. All proceeds go to help North Carolina. So it's all for a good cause, and really you get to hear the talent of Savannah. And there is a lot here. Trust me, there really is.
So everybody make sure to go check that out. And then again, check out the Christmas movie. It is called
Christmas Cowboy.
Courtney, as we're heading out, is there anything we didn't talk about or I didn't ask you about specifically that you wanted to talk about?
I think you've done a great job. You've done your research. I think we've pretty much covered it all, my friend.
I think we did. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media.
You can find me on Facebook at Courtney Gains, and also Instagram. So you'll figure out which one's really me by the posts. You'll know it's me. Oh, and you can also find the band Courtney Gains group on Facebook.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Courtney, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day and your hectic acting in literally everything schedule and songwriting to hang out and let us get to know you a little bit better on Fascination Street, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. All right, man. Take care, pal.
Bye. opening music is the song FSP Theme, written, performed, and provided by Ambush Vin. Closing music is from the song Say My Name off the 2021 album Underdog Anthems, used with permission from Jax Hollow. If you like the show, tell a friend. Subscribe and rate and review the show on iTunes and wherever else you download podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. All the episodes are available there as well. Check me out on Vero at Fascination Street Pod and TikTok at Fascination Street Pod. And again, thanks for listening.